The laughter rolled like thunder across the obsidian chamber, echoing off walls carved from dead stars and old pride. Alien voices rasped, clicked, and hissed, but all carried the same tone. Mockery? The humans? Scoffed Visor, one of the eldest counselors, his mandibles twitching in smug rhythm. Their flagship still burns chemical fuel and atmosphere. Did you know that? Another counselor barked in reply. I saw one of their ground units. Rubber wheels, Visor. Rubber. They laughed harder, crueler. Have you seen their infantry? Armor? It squeaks when they walk. Their soldiers don't even plug into neural net command. They still shout orders like animals, like primitives. A younger voice piped up, slightly nervous, but joining the joke. And yet, they keep winning. Silence, sharp and surgical. Eyes turned. The laughter dimmed but didn't vanish. It hovered like heat off a broken engine. Counselor Shari leaned forward, voice low and thin. That's the part that keeps me from sleeping. They win. Not always. Not cleanly, but they do. Visor rolled his 6 eyes, each independently, blinking in irritation. Don't romanticize barbarians. They're a backwater species that should have been quarantined with the Prex. Shari stared at him. So were the Threxians. Until they tried to glass New Antarctica. That name. Threxians. Another silence. A heavier one. The council chamber. Dimmed slightly as if the AI itself lowered its voice out of respect for ghosts. We lost half the Outer Rim fleets to that conflict. Someone muttered. They were gone in hours. Shari didn't blink. The Threxians didn't understand what they'd triggered. They thought it would be quick. They hit a colony, not Earth. A colony. And in return Earth didn't even send diplomats. They sent orbital thunder. Another counselor, older than most, rubbed the ridges of his chin thoughtfully. We've tried to analyze it. Their strategic logic makes no sense. No formal war declaration. No rules of engagement. No hierarchy we can infiltrate. That's the part you're missing, Shari said. Humans don't escalate by logic. They escalate by emotion. They fight with ghosts behind their eyes. A VD spike. The chamber lights pulsed. A gentle tone from the system AI interrupted. Incoming signal. Unregistered origin. Human space. Visor waved it off. Scramble it. They've been sending those for weeks. Psychological warfare. Poorly crafted. The screen flickered. A sentence appeared, written in primitive English. We warned you. Another line followed. Now you belong to us. Silence. And then, as if dragged up from a dream, a voice spoke, not mechanical. Not translated. A recording. Human.mail. Calm. You touched one of our colonies. No noise, no music. Just voice. We let you walk away last time. The voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. This time, there will be no survivors. This is not vengeance. It is conclusion. Another flick. Dozens of council ships blinked off their net. Internal lights dimmed. Counselor Jesh hissed in panic. We're being jammed. No, whispered Shari. They're not jamming. U.S. They're being obeyed. What do you mean? They're not inside our systems. We're inside theirs. Another voice cracked through, this time from the field outpost in Sector 14. Command. Command, this is Delta Post Omega. We have incoming. Repeat. Human fleet just phase breached sector edge. How the hell did they get through the barriers? Screaming. Then static. They've had our codes the whole time, someone said in disbelief. No, Shari replied. They never needed our codes. They mapped our logic. They understood us. A hologram burst to life. Earth's main fleet. But not their known vessels. New shapes. Jagged. Silent. Pitch black and heatless. They're not transmitting IFF. barked the defense. Chief, we can't get a lock, the system replied for him. No lock necessary. Target already inside perimeter. A ripple of panic spread across the chamber. Orders were barked, war councils summoned, but none of it mattered. They were already in the walls. Shari's voice cut through the rising static. You see what you've done? You kept calling them animals, tools, broken apes with too many guns. You never realized they don't evolve like us. They mutate, burn, scar, and remember. A flash, just one. A black spike appeared in low orbit over Tylix Prime, a human war beacon. A kind of marker. It didn't fire. It simply hovered. Watching that, then came the human voice again. Withdraw from all human-aligned systems immediately, or the silence that follows will be permanent. Visa rose from his seat, face pale. This is madness, he spat. We are the apex. We hold 200 star systems. Shari stared at him, dead cold. You held 200. Now you hold their attention. I hope you're ready. Another signal hit the council walls. This time audio only. Children laughing. Human children. And beneath that, marching boots. Getting louder. Every counselor froze. They don't even mask it, one whispered. They let us hear it. A final line appeared on the screen. The last message, you attacked. Now you stay. Shari turned to leave the chamber, and that was before Earth even responded. The silence on the bridge was not peace. It was a warning. Captain Ellen Rhodes stood at the center of the warship Indivisible, staring at the projection of Tylix Prime glowing softly on the main display like a ripe fruit about to be smashed. She didn't speak. Not yet, let them feel the weight of it first. Ma'am, Lieutenant Cale whispered from the tactics station. Confirmation received. The council still hasn't responded. Of course they hadn't. They were too busy arguing, laughing, underestimating. Just like every species before them, Rhodes ran her fingers along the smooth, black alloy of her command rail. Keep them. Waiting, Cale hesitated. Ma'am? They touched our colony, Lieutenant. They burned 74 civilians alive. One was a child, 7 years old. She tried to hide inside a water tank. Rhodes's voice didn't shake. Her hands didn't clench. That's what frightened Cale most. No transmission? Nothing but their propaganda feeds. Jamming all. Galactic relays, making it look like a justified strike. Typical council operation. Another officer leaned in. We could respond now, Captain. Deploy 3 ships to strike their orbital defense grid. A surgical hit. Rhodes slowly turned. That's not the response, she said. A VD spike. She walked toward the observation glass, where the distant blue swirl of Earth glimmered faintly, cradled in the dark. They have no idea what it means when we go quiet, she said. They think it's cowardice, fear, retreat. Cale swallowed hard. And it's not? Rhodes smiled without warmth. No, it's humanity remembering. Flashback. A blink in her mind. Her brother screaming, his face lit in red, inside a burning dome on Colony Vega. Rhodes was 14. Too far to help. Too close to forget. We don't strike back for revenge, she said softly. We strike back so no one ever thinks we won't. The ship AI chimed in. Incoming data packets from intercepted council feeds. Internal footage, High Council in disarray. Rhodes looked up. Put it on. The feed played chaotic alien. Voices, fractured syntax, weapons being drawn. Not against humans, but against each other. Panic breeding betrayal. The council was fracturing. Good. Time to deliver the message, Rhodes said. Deploy blackout protocol across the outer rim. Disable their relay satellites. Leave only the signal. What signal? Her gaze darkened. The warning. Cale's. Eyes flicked to the comms deck. Message crafted and ready. Broadcasting now. The screen displayed a bold white human script left in the ruins of every dead relay satellite. We do not forgive. We do not warn twice. Then silence. That was the part that broke species, not the missiles, not the tech. The silence. Avid spike. 10 hours later, a single alien destroyer drifted into the void between sectors. Engines cold. No life signs. No damage. Just off. When boarding crews from an allied neutral party docked, they found a single word carved into the command console in jagged human alphabet. Stay. Back on Indivisible, Rhodes received the footage. She watched it in silence. Then she tapped the command interface. Move to Phase 2. Kale flinched. Phase 2 already? They struck a human colony, she said. Not a military post, not a weapons cache. Families, artists, children. Her voice gained weight, but not volume. That was her power, no shouting, no fire. Just inevitability. Phase 2 is containment. We lock down their transit corridors. We make sure. When the hammer comes, they have nowhere to run. Another officer whispered, "Should I notify the fleet?" Rhodes's eyes never left the stars outside. They already know. Cut to deep space. Ships emerge from phase rip like ancient sea monsters breaking water. No fanfare. No ceremony. Hundreds. Thousands. Silent. Each one bears the same emblem on the hull. A child's handprint in white, avid spike. Back in the Council's territory, chaos blooms. Planets begin to riot, not because of human attack, but because of rumors. Rumors that the humans are coming, that they're already there, that they're invisible. The aliens have always mocked humanity's brute simplicity, but they never understood their greatest weapon wasn't steel or software, it was fear. Cold. Patient. Cultivated. Back on Indivisible, Kale turned toward Rhodes again. Permission to speak freely, Captain. Always. You're not angry. No, you're not afraid either. No? Then what are you? Rhodes looked at him. Finally. Long enough to make him regret asking. I'm human, she said. And that means I don't leave ghosts unburied. Flashback. The child in the water tank. Steam rising off her scorched skin. Eyes still open. Rhodes's breath caught, but only inside. They called us animals, she muttered. But animals run when they've killed enough. We don't. Kale turned away. There was nothing left to say. Rhodes gave her final command for the day. Begin blackout in sectors 12 through 29. Let them sleep in darkness. And just before the stars blinked out, one last message played across their systems. We remember the child. The bridge dimmed. The only sound was the hum of a ship preparing for war. He had never seen a war begin with. Silence. Strategist Yerrick clutched the edge of the holotable as the lights dimmed again. Not from power failure, not from sabotage. From fear. Every time they flickered, every time a terminal went dark for just a second too long, someone on the bridge flinched. It wasn't damage. It was message, a rhythm, a heartbeat, and it was human. There. Not responding to our diplomacy packages, his assistant barked. We've sent over 40. They're not going to answer, Yerrick said quietly. But we declared victory. No, Yerrick whispered. We declared noise. He zoomed the map in sector by sector. More than half of their outer surveillance nodes had gone dark. No explosions. No debris. No alarms. Just gone. One flicker. Then silence. The same pattern over and over again. He tapped the console, replaying. The intercepted feed again. The human captain, female, unflinching, voice low and clean. We do not warn twice. He paused the clip, froze her face. It wasn't rage. It wasn't arrogance. It was worse. It was certainty. Avid Spike. Yarrick had seen that face before. Threxian archives. The last surviving footage before the species was erased. Human commander standing on a blood-soaked platform, holding a child's stuffed toy in one hand and an orbital strike control in the other. No grand speech. Just 5 words. You will never touch Earth. Then light. Blinding. The Threxian capital vaporized. He remembered thinking back then, this must be what extinction sounds like. And now, the same silence was back. It had arrived early. And it was growing teeth. The command center shook just slightly. Not from weapons. From docking sequence, a senior war advisor burst in. 3 of our defense platforms just powered down. Sabotage? No. A gulp. They shut themselves off. All 3 ran a human command string that predates even our first encounter. Yarrick blinked. We've never given them system access. We didn't, but we copied some of their AI tech during the exchange accords. You remember? The translator. Units? Every member of the room went pale. They were seated, someone said. Years ago. No, Yarrick said again. We were seated. AVDSPIKE footage flickered to life again, unsolicited. A council representative screaming inside a transport. Hull melting. Exterior undamaged. Then the camera panned. Just once. A human vessel. Not large, not armed. No known signature. The symbol painted on its side? A small handprint. White, dripping, child-sized. The screams cut off. System. Shut down. Playback terminated. Yarrick didn't speak. He couldn't. They had always assumed humanity fought like other species reactively. Blind fury. Blunt retribution. But this was a story being told. A story written in horror and patience. In echoes. In things left unsaid. He leaned toward his terminal and pulled up Earth's ancient military doctrine. Not the modern galactic records. Not their filtered translations. The old stuff. The original language. Unrefined. Brutal. Deterrence through disbelief. Victory through mythology. They want us to panic, the assistant said. No, Yarrick muttered. They want us to act like ourselves. Loud, proud, predictable. He turned. How many ships do we have guarding the inner moons? 2,000. Heavily armed. Recall half of them now. Are you mad? No, just observant. That's exactly where they want us to keep our eyes. Avid Spike. His personal datapad buzzed. A silent alert. The AI attached to his neural link quiet until now spoke in a flat tone. Your home colony has gone offline. No damage detected. Just gone dark. He stared at him. Family? Unknown. That's when it finally cracked. The panic that had been hovering around the chamber now pushed inward like pressure in the skull. All the simulations, all the confidence. It had been built on faulty premises. They'd always assumed humans escalated in linear patterns, but humans didn't escalate. They collapsed. Then they switched, emotionally, strategically, spiritually. No fallback. No pause, no compromise. Just switch. AVDSPIKE, a courier drone landed outside the command hall. Inside it, a single object, a child's toy, stuffed, wet, burned. No note. No origin tag. Yarrick fell to his knees. I need a secure channel, he said. To who? His aide asked. Yarrick looked up. Earth. They won't answer. I know. He tapped into the ancient protocol from the translator units. Something embedded, human-made. Something he was never supposed to touch. Then he whispered a phrase into the mic. I saw the child. The translator AI responded. Then run. Yarrick collapsed in his chair. It's already too late, he whispered. We mocked them for naming their weapons like pets. The others looked confused. Why does that matter? He stared at them, because no one names a weapon unless they plan to remember what it did. The last alien fleet surrendered without a shot. No formal transmission, no council banners, no pride, just cold mechanical silence as their ships powered down one by one and opened their airlocks to vacuum symbolic. Disarmament. And still, Earth said nothing. Orbiting above the ruins of Sector 9, Captain Ellen Rhodes stood on the bridge of Indivisible, staring at the enemy fleet. Her crew didn't cheer. There were no victory hollers, no patriotic songs, just the hollow echo of breath through warship vents and the quiet ticking of systems too well oiled to flinch anymore. They're giving up, Cale said, watching the alien ships open like dead flowers. They're late, Rhodes answered. Cale hesitated. Should we acknowledge it? She looked at him, not unkindly. They acknowledged us when they bombed our colony. Now they're acknowledging our silence. That's enough. Avd Spike Rhodes turned back toward the central console. With a single hand motion, she accessed the old protocol, something the council never believed existed. They called it myth, Earth's last strategic command, the Archangel. Initiative. Every fleet AI pulsed in recognition. Every dreadnought's core spun up, not with energy, but with permission. Across dozens of systems, human ships began deploying drones. Not weapons, witnesses. Each drone carried only one file, a full visual archive of what the Council did to that colony, frame by frame, voice by voice. Screams intact. Unedited. UNTITLED. And at the end of each file, a single line. We told you not to touch the child. Cale swallowed. Are we showing them? Yes. Why? Because this isn't revenge, she said. This is memory enforcement. AVD Spike, back on the Council's remaining stronghold Eklian, Prime, their most secure world strategist Yurik, stood in a crowded chamber, watching the footage stream in from every channel. Billions of their species, frozen, watching the child in the water tank die. Over and over again. He didn't weep. He just whispered. They weren't targeting our fleet. His aide turned. What? They never cared about defeating us, he said, eyes wide with realization. They cared about being seen, about making sure no one ever forgets. The aide stepped back. So it's not war? No, it's legacy. Avd Spike. Aboard Indivisible, Rhodes gave one final order. Activate silent return. Cale stiffened. We're leaving? We've said what needed saying. Captain, with respect. They haven't even begged yet. She looked out at the stars, her face unreadable. They will. That's the part they never understand. The damage doesn't happen when we strike. It happens when we don't. The ship turned. So did the rest of the human fleet. None of them fired. None of them spoke. But in the wake of their departure, across every Council-controlled system, AI messages kept playing. You touched a child. Now you belong to the story. AVD Spike. 3 weeks past. No. News strikes. No retaliation. No demands from Earth. Just absence. And that absence screamed louder than any weapon. Entire Council species began turning on each other, desperate to know who had authorized the colony. Strike. Who made Earth respond? Who woke the ghosts? Yarrick sat alone in the dark, watching a blank screen. They didn't want justice, he muttered. They wanted narrative dominance. In the sky above, a single object hovered. One of the human drones. Still playing the video. Still making sure they remembered. His aide walked in, trembling. Sir, there's something else. What? It's not just us. Other species, neutral ones. They've begun dismantling weapons. pulling out of human-adjacent space. They're afraid of a second wave. No, sir. They're afraid of the first one still happening. Avd Spike, deep beneath Earth, in a silent chamber. An ancient AI, the original one used for first contact with the Galactic Council, came. Online. It spoke a single sentence. Not to Earth. To space itself. To whoever might be listening, humanity does not seek war, but we write it. Then the feed ended, and the galactic map changed. Not officially, not in code, but emotionally. Every star near Earth began being marked differently. Not with human flags, but with blank space. A warning, a place others didn't go. Silence they didn't speak into. The new maps came with a phrase. No one claimed authorship, but it spread like wildfire. Do not scan human systems. Do not chart them. Do not ask. On Indivisible, Kale looked at Rhodes one final time. Was this mercy? No. Then what was it? She watched the last of the stars realign around Earth's reach. It was clarity. They stood in silence. Then, over the speakers, the AI spoke again, replaying the ancient human phrase captured from a war long ago. The voice of a child. I told you not to come here. And that was the end of the war, of the council, of the illusion, not of humanity. They were just getting started.